The phrase leave well enough alone, I think, is a good rule of thumb in fiction when it comes to a character's story arc that has been concluded in a satisfying manner. Case in point, Steve Rogers, Captain America, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So after being frozen in the ice in World War II and waking up in the 21st century and losing his lady love, Peggy Carter, he joins the Avengers. Years pass, and finally, in Avengers Endgame, he eventually discovers a means of travelling back in time so that he can live out the rest of his life happily ever after with Peggy. I didn't need to see any more. That was a great way to end Steve Rogers' story. They finally have their dance together. The shot cuts to the end credits. The movie is over. It's all done. Steve's story is complete and everyone is happy, including the fans. The trouble is, we know that Avengers Doomsday, coming out in December of this year, is going to upset this pitch-perfect conclusion by revisiting Steve and Peggy in the past and reframing Steve's happy ending as a temporal incursion that is somehow really bad for the multiverse or whatever. Ah yes, the multiverse. The plot device that no one likes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and that destroys tension, stakes, and consequences. So the idea that the multiverse is going to take precedence as a plot device over such a happy ending is just a bad idea, in my view. So we're going to talk about this. This article is from comicbookmovie.com. I will include the article linked below for you to read in full. It says, Avengers Doomsday leaked story details reveal possible Loki retcon with Steve Rogers implications. The latest Avengers Doomsday plot leak claims to clear up the apparent connection between Steve Rogers, Doctor Doom, and the Fantastic Four. Potential spoilers follow. It says, now we have some apparent clarification from Insider at My Time to Shine H. That's My Time to Shine Hello. Much of this is familiar, but some new pieces of intel link various claims together and begin making sense of what should be a key plot point in Avengers Doomsday. Now, again, although this is a rumor, My Time to Shine Hello has been right about a lot of plot details before. So if you don't want to potentially be spoiled for Avengers Doomsday, you might want to look away now. It says, sometime after Avengers Endgame and before the end of Loki Season 2, Loki goes to see Steve, who is living with Peggy and has a son. As we saw in the Steve Rogers Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer, Loki tells Steve that the TVA is going to prune this timeline because Steve is not supposed to be there and is not supposed to have a child. Are we ever going to be done with the Time Variance Authority? I just hate that as a concept as well, you know? We've had the TVA in Loki and Deadpool and Wolverine, and now in this movie. So, again, like all this different timelines and branch points and pruning different times, it's just such a mess. I can't stand any of that stuff, really. I think there should just be one timeline and that's it. But anyway, Loki offers Steve a way out. He will move Steve and his family to a universe where they never existed, allowing them to live peacefully. That universe turns out to be the Fantastic Four's universe. They live there for years until the events of Avengers Doomsday, when Doom arrives to warn the Fantastic Four about the incursions and tell them they must travel to the MCU to stop them. Reed and Doom come up with a plan, track down Steve, explain everything to him, and ask for his help. Steve agrees to return to the MCU, so basically the main timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so to return with them so he can convince the heroes there to help. If this is the basis of the story for Doomsday, it's really weak. Like, there's nothing there that's exciting. There's no excitement in that. It's just very academic. It's like, this arbitrary plot point requires this action to happen, and that's it. Like, who cares? It's all very abstract, you know? A timeline needs to be pruned because reasons, therefore let's have action and crossovers. It's just a contrived justification to merge universes and get lots of superheroes on screen together for the novelty of a big, meaningless crossover event movie. I mean, it's just lots of exposition to justify having Robert Downey Jr. return and having to bring in the X-Men, to cross over the Fantastic Four, to bring in the new Avengers, the old Avengers. You know, that's all it is. And once you understand that, that is the only reason for this film to exist. To just come up with an arbitrary plot point to justify trying to entice fans who've drifted away from the MCU in recent years, trying to bring them back. That's all it is. How do we get bums on seats in the movie theater? Let's just bring back as many legacy characters as we can, and we'll just figure out some contrived, timey-wimey explanation for doing it. This feels kind of like the central threat from Spider-Man No Way Home in some respects. The spell that caused some, multiverse chaos, and then you had some crossovers, and Spider-Man has to fix it. It's not a bad movie. I mean, I like No Way Home, but when you dig into that central conflict, it does hinge on Peter Parker fixing a mess that he created. It's actually, I know some of you disagree, but No Way Home doesn't have as strong a story as Far From Home. And really what sells No Way Home is bringing back these other Spider-Man characters from the other Spider-Man universes. And of course, the big crossover of the three Spider-Men together. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man all together in the same scenes. I mean, that's the novelty of that movie. Doomsday sounds kind of like that. The universe is broken by some arbitrary space-time plot point because reasons. And the result is crossovers and member berries, right? I am telling you now, this film is going to be chock full of long exposition scenes. I can just see it now. I can just see all of the Brainiac characters in this movie just delivering endless reams of exposition in order to move the story from one arbitrary plot point to the next, right? Above all, what annoys me, though, is that Steve got his happy ending, and that should have been it, and now that's been called into question and sort of reframed like it's kind of a bad thing that shouldn't have happened, and that it's created these negative consequences on the multiverse, whatever. I mean, way to ruin a perfect ending, right? Like I said, this is a bad idea. I think this is a bad idea. But anyway, those are my thoughts for this current leak for Avengers Doomsday, which again is due out in December of this year. I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Am I wrong about this? Could this actually be the basis of a great story? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Dave Cullen Show channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified of future updates. Please share the video out there. Take care, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.